When Gregory experienced a glimpse of the afterlife, he never imagined the horrors that awaited him. His chilling encounter will make you question everything you thought you knew. My name is Gregory, and I live in a quiet town surrounded by rolling hills and dense forests. At 46 years old, I've spent most of my life here, watching the seasons change and the years pass by like leaves floating down a stream. My home is a small cottage on the edge of town, with a creaky porch and a garden that I never quite got around to tending. I work at the local bookstore, a cozy place filled with the scent of old pages and the soft murmur of whispers. People come in looking for stories to escape into, and I help them find just the right one. On the surface, my life seems peaceful, even idyllic, but beneath that calm exterior lies a secret I've carried for far too long. For years, I've struggled with an addiction to images and videos on the internet that I knew weren't right. It started innocently enough, a curious click here, a lingering glance there, but over time, it grew into something that consumed me. I spent hours lost in a world that was empty and hollow, filling a void I couldn't quite understand. I knew it was wrong. Each time I promised myself it would be the last, but the pull was too strong. It affected my relationships, isolating me from friends and family. I stopped attending community events and even skipped out on holidays. The walls I built around myself grew taller, and the shadows within grew darker. One evening, after closing up the shop, I walked home under a sky painted with stars. The cool night air whispered through the trees, and the moon cast long shadows across the path. I felt a heaviness in my chest, a sense of loneliness that seemed to grow with each step. When I got home, the silence was deafening. I dropped my keys on the table and sat down in front of my computer. The glow of the screen illuminated the room, casting everything else into darkness. I hesitated for a moment, my finger hovering over the mouse. A small voice inside me begged me to stop, but I pushed it aside. Hours slipped away as I delved deeper into that familiar abyss. The images blurred together, and time lost all meaning. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my chest. I gasped, clutching at my heart. The room spun around me, and I struggled to catch my breath. Panic surged through me. I tried to stand, but my legs gave way, and I collapsed onto the floor. The pain intensified, radiating down my arm. I knew something was terribly wrong. With trembling hands, I reached for the phone, but it slipped from my grasp. Darkness edged into my vision, and the sounds around me faded into a distant echo. My heartbeat thundered in my ears, each beat slower than the last. As I lay there, a cold numbness spread through my body. Thoughts raced through my mind, regrets, unspoken words, missed opportunities. I wanted to cry out for help, but no sound came. The last thing I saw before everything went black was a photograph on the wall. A picture of me as a child, smiling and carefree. A single tear traced down my cheek as I whispered, "I'm sorry." In that moment, everything faded away. The pain ceased, and a profound silence enveloped me. I felt weightless, suspended in a void without time or space. Questions swirled in my mind, but there were no answers. I wondered if this was the end. If so, what awaited me on the other side? Fear gripped me, but there was also a strange sense of calm. The struggles and secrets of my life seemed distant now, like echoes in a vast canyon. Then, from the depths of the darkness, a faint light appeared. It was small at first, like a distant star, but it grew brighter with each passing moment. I felt drawn to it, compelled to move toward its gentle glow. As I drifted closer, the light enveloped me, warm and soothing. For the first time in years, I felt a sense of peace. But beneath that comfort, there was something else. A stirring of anticipation, as if I was standing on the threshold of something immense and unknown. I reached out, trying to touch the light, but as soon as my fingers brushed its surface, everything changed. The warmth vanished, replaced by a chilling cold. The light flickered and dimmed, and shadows began to creep in from all sides. Before I could react, the ground beneath me gave way, and I was plunged into a swirling abyss. Wind rushed past me as I fell, and the light above grew smaller and smaller, until it was nothing more than a pinprick in the darkness. I screamed, but no sound came out. Fear consumed me, and I braced myself for whatever lay at the bottom of this endless descent. The fall seemed to last forever, but suddenly I landed with a jolt on a hard, cold surface. The impact knocked the breath out of me, and I lay there gasping, my body aching from the fall. As I slowly sat up, I realized I was in a place unlike anything I'd ever seen. The sky above was a murky gray, swirling with dark clouds that moved unnaturally fast. The ground was barren and cracked, stretching out endlessly in all directions. A faint, sulphurous smell hung in the air, and the only sound was a distant, eerie wailing that sent chills down my spine. "Where am I?" I whispered to myself, my voice echoing strangely in the desolate landscape. I stood up, my legs unsteady beneath me. As I began to walk, the ground seemed to shift and move, making each step a struggle. The sense of dread grew stronger with every moment. In the distance, I saw figures moving, shadowy shapes that flickered at the edge of my vision. I couldn't make out who or what they were, but I felt their eyes upon me. I tried calling out, but my voice was swallowed by the vast emptiness. The wailing grew louder, and the shadows drew nearer. I could see now that they were people, or at least they had been once. Their faces were twisted in anguish, eyes hollow and haunted. They reached out to me with skeletal hands, their fingers grasping at the air. "Help us," they moaned. "Save us." I backed away, terror gripping my heart. "I can't," I stammered. "I don't know how." They circled around me, their voices merging into a cacophony of sorrow. "Why are you here?" one asked. "It's not your time," said another. "I don't know why I'm here," I cried out. "I don't understand any of this." A towering figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in darkness. Its eyes burned like embers, and its presence commanded silence. The wailing ceased as the spirits recoiled from it. "Gregory," the figure intoned, its voice deep and resonant, "you have wandered far from the path." "Who are you?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "I am a messenger," it replied, "a guide for lost souls." "Am I dead?" The word felt heavy on my tongue. "In a manner of speaking," the figure said, "you stand at the crossroads between life and what lies beyond." "Please," I begged, "tell me what this place is." "This is a realm of reckoning," the figure said, "a place where the weight of one's choices is laid bare." I felt a sinking sensation in my stomach. "My choices?" The figure gestured, and the ground before us shifted. Scenes from my life played out on the cracked earth like reflections on water. I saw myself as a child, full of hope and innocence. Then the images shifted to my teenage years, the first time I stumbled upon things I shouldn't have seen. I watched as the scenes progressed, each one a painful reminder of how far I'd strayed. The isolation, the lies, the moments I turned away from opportunities to change. "Stop it," I pleaded, covering my eyes. "I can't watch anymore." "Truth cannot be hidden here," the figure said sternly. "You must confront it." Tears streamed down my face. "I know I've made mistakes," I sobbed, "but I didn't realize it would lead me here." "Every action has consequences," the figure replied. "You allowed yourself to be consumed by darkness. Is there any way to make it right?" I asked desperately. The figure regarded me silently for a moment. "Redemption is possible," it said finally, "but it is not easy. You must truly repent and seek the path you have forsaken." "I will," I vowed. "I'll do whatever it takes." The figure pointed to a distant light on the horizon. "Then you must journey through the trials," it said. "Face the temptations and overcome them." Before I could ask what that meant, the ground beneath me shifted again, and a path unfolded leading towards the faint light. The shadowy spirits parted, creating an opening. "Go now," the figure commanded. "Your time is limited." I took a deep breath and stepped forward onto the path. The air grew thicker, and each step felt like wading through mud. Whispers filled the air, seductive and enticing. "Come back," they called. "Stay with us. It's easier here." I clenched my fists, trying to block out the voices. "No," I said firmly. "I won't give in." Images appeared beside the path, temptations from my past beckoning me. The allure was strong, and my resolve wavered. Memories of the comfort I once found in my old habits tugged at me. "Just one more time," the voices urged. "No one will know." I shut my eyes tight. "Leave me alone," I shouted. "I won't be controlled by you anymore." A wind picked up, swirling around me and dispersing the images. The path became clearer, and the light ahead grew brighter. As I continued onward, the landscape began to change. The barren wasteland gave way to a rocky terrain, with jagged cliffs rising on either side. The sky above churned with dark clouds, and thunder rumbled in the distance. Ahead of me stood a massive gate made of iron and stone. It was imposing and foreboding, adorned with symbols and inscriptions I couldn't understand. Guarding the gate were two figures clad in armor, their faces hidden beneath helmets. "Halt," one of them commanded as I approached. "I need to pass," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. "No one passes without facing judgment," the other replied. I swallowed hard. "Then judge me." They stepped aside, and the gate slowly creaked open. Beyond it was a bridge suspended over a chasm so deep that I couldn't see the bottom. Flames and shadows danced below, and the heat was intense. I stepped onto the bridge, feeling it sway beneath my weight. Each plank creaked ominously. Halfway across, the bridge began to shake violently. The ropes strained, and pieces of wood fell away into the abyss. Panic surged through me. I gripped the remaining ropes tightly, my heart pounding. The voices from below called out, mocking and taunting. "You'll never make it," they jeered. "You're not strong enough." "Yes, I will," I shouted back. "I have to." Summoning all my courage, I moved forward, one careful step at a time. The end of the bridge seemed impossibly far, but I refused to look down. With a final leap, I reached solid ground just as the bridge collapsed behind me. I fell to my knees, gasping for breath. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. Ahead lay a dense forest shrouded in mist. The trees twisted unnaturally, their branches like skeletal hands reaching out. As I entered the forest, whispers echoed around me once more. Shadows darted between the trees, and the path became difficult to follow. Doubt crept into my mind. What if this is all for nothing, I thought. What if I can't be forgiven? A figure stepped out from behind a tree, a reflection of myself, but with eyes that were cold and empty. "Why struggle?" it said mockingly. "We belong here. Embrace who you are." "No," I asserted. "That's not who I want to be anymore." The doppelganger sneered. "You can't change, it's too late." I felt anger rise within me. "I can and I will," I declared. "I choose a different path." The figure laughed hollowly. "We'll see about that." Suddenly it lunged at me, and we grappled on the forest floor. It was like fighting a shadow, slippery and elusive. Every time I thought I had the upper hand, it slipped away. "You're fighting yourself," it hissed. "You'll never win." Realization dawned on me. To defeat this creature, I had to let go of the self-hatred and accept responsibility. "I forgive myself," I said firmly. "I accept my past, but it doesn't define my future." The figure recoiled, its form flickering. "What are you doing?" it shrieked. "I'm moving forward," I replied. With that, the figure dissolved into mist, and the forest began to lighten. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and a clear path emerged ahead. I walked onward, feeling a newfound strength. The trials had tested me, but I was determined to see this journey through. Emerging from the forest, I found myself at the base of a towering mountain. Its peak was hidden among the clouds, and a narrow path wound its way up the steep slopes. Though exhausted, I knew I had to climb. The air grew thinner as I ascended, and each step was a struggle. But with every height gained, the burden on my soul seemed to lessen. As I neared the summit, I saw a figure standing at the edge of a cliff, gazing out over the expanse below. Drawing closer, I realized it was the man from the bookstore, a regular customer who always had a kind word. He turned to me with a gentle smile. "I've been waiting for you, Gregory." "How do you know my name?" I asked, puzzled. "I've always known you," he replied. "I've watched your journey." "Are you—" I trailed off, unsure of what to ask. He nodded. "I am a messenger of the light, here to guide those who seek redemption." "I want to make things right," I said earnestly. "I want to follow the true path." "Then you have taken the first and most important step," he said, "acknowledging your faults and choosing to change." He gestured to the view below. "Look." I turned to see a panorama of the world, cities, oceans, mountains, and valleys. It was breathtakingly beautiful. "This is what awaits those who embrace the truth," he said. "A life renewed, filled with purpose and peace." Tears welled in my eyes. "I want that," I whispered. He placed a hand on my shoulder. "Salvation is found through faith, actions, and a sincere heart. Your journey doesn't end here. You must carry this resolve back to your life and live according to the path you've chosen." "Will it be easy?" I asked. He shook his head. "No path worth taking is without challenges, but you will not be alone." A warmth spread through me, and I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in years. "Thank you," I said, gratitude filling my voice. "Go now," he said softly. "Live fully and honor the chance you've been given." The world around me began to glow. the light intensifying until everything was enveloped in a brilliant radiance. I closed my eyes against the brightness. When I opened them again, I was staring at a white ceiling, the sound of beeping machines filling my ears. Blinking in confusion, I realized I was lying in a hospital bed. The steady rhythm of a heart monitor echoed in the quiet room. A nurse noticed I was awake and hurried over. "Welcome back," she said kindly. "You've been unconscious for a while." "What happened?" I croaked, my throat dry and sore. "You had a severe heart attack," she explained. "Your neighbor found you just in time and called for help." I tried to process her words, memories of my surreal journey flooding back. It felt so real, more than just a dream. "How long have I been here?" I asked. "3 days," she replied. "You gave us quite a scare." Over the next few days, I reflected on everything I'd experienced. I knew it wasn't merely a hallucination, it was a wake-up call. I had been given a second chance, and I wasn't going to waste it. Upon returning home, I made immediate changes. I disposed of anything that tied me to my old habits, magazines, subscriptions, even my computer. I wanted no remnants of the darkness that had once consumed me. I reached out to friends and family I'd distanced myself from, seeking to rebuild those relationships. Some were hesitant, but others welcomed me back with open arms. Most importantly, I visited the local Orthodox church, a place I'd passed countless times but never entered. The moment I stepped inside, a sense of peace washed over me. The flickering candles, the icons, the soft hymns, it felt like coming home. I spoke with Father Dmitri, confessing my struggles and expressing my desire to change. He listened without judgment, offering guidance and support. Through attending services, participating in the sacraments, and immersing myself in the teachings, I began to understand the depth of faith and the importance of living it daily. I volunteered at community events, helped those in need, and focused on doing good works. Each act, no matter how small, filled the emptiness that had once plagued me. I wasn't just avoiding past temptations. I was actively pursuing a life of purpose and compassion. One afternoon, as I was leaving the church, I saw the man from my vision standing across the street. He gave me a knowing smile and nodded before blending into the crowd. I realized then that I was never truly alone on this journey. Years have passed since that pivotal moment. While the memories of my experience remain vivid, they've become a source of strength rather than fear. I share my story with others who struggle, hoping to inspire them to seek their own path to redemption. Life is filled with choices, and I've learned that it's never too late to choose the right one. Salvation isn't granted through words alone, but through faith put into action. By embracing the teachings and living them out, I've found a peace that eluded me for so long. I am grateful for the second chance I was given, and I strive each day to honor it. The road ahead isn't always easy, but I walk it with hope and conviction, knowing that I am on the true path. If Gregory's harrowing journey moved you, don't miss out on more incredible stories. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay connected.